Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Have you ever noticed that when you recite and try to recite loudly, you end up getting a lot of strain, vocal tension, and your throat hurts? The reason actually is that you're not properly projecting your voice. What happens, a lot of people when they think of raising volume, they think of yelling or shouting, and a lot of times when I'm sure we all had like an experience going to a khutbah where the khatib's just yelling and shouting. It doesn't sound good to the ears, and of course for the person doing it, it puts a lot of strain on their voice as well. And when reciting Quran, of course, if somebody's trying to recite loudly and they're shouting, it doesn't sound good to anyone. What happens when someone's yelling? I'm sure you heard the phrase, somebody's yelling at the top of their lungs or screaming at the top of their lungs. It kind of holds true. What happens is that when someone's shouting or yelling, they're using, their voice area and this like the top chest and the voice area to try to push out more sound, and it ends up creating a lot of tension there. Really, what you need to be doing is project your voice. Projecting your voice has to do with directing your voice to a farther distance, kind of like casting your voice, throwing your voice, and it's a bit of an abstract concept. So I'll give you some examples, and hopefully that helps you make sense of what voice projection is. Think about this video that as I speak right now, you can hopefully hear me loudly and clearly. That's because in my mind, I'm speaking to you. I'm speaking, beyond my camera. Whereas suppose instead, I decide to speak only to my microphone. I might sound something like this because my microphone can hear me, but I don't know if you can hear me, and my voice is a little bit quite kind of shaky, not very strong because I'm not really giving it much support, but I'm just talking to my microphone. I don't know if hopefully you can tell the difference. When I'm speaking to my microphone, my voice automatically it gets a bit kind of shaky, not very supported, not very strong. Whereas as I'm talking to you now, I'm not shouting, I'm not yelling at the top of my lungs, but talking in a projected manner. Another example is suppose you have, suppose you're think about throwing a ball, right? When you're projecting your voice, you're kind of like throwing your voice over a certain distance. Think of someone throwing a ball. Suppose you have a little kid and they have a ball and you're playing catch. The kid, when they're small, they might hold the ball in their hand and just go like this and plop, the ball kind of falls, a few feet in front of them, and everyone's like, yeah, mashallah, alhamdulillah, your kid did great. But as they grow older, and you take them out to play catch and stuff like that, they realize that you can't, if you want to throw the ball farther, you can't just use your wrist and start going harder like that, your wrist is going to get sore. You really need to hold the ball and step into it. So your wrist, your entire arm movement from your elbow, your shoulder, and even your whole body, you step into the throw and you football, baseball, whatever, you just use your whole body to give momentum to the ball. If you think of your voice like this ball, really what people do when they yell, essentially they're holding this ball and trying to go harder with the wrist. And the ball is still going to fall just a few feet in front of them. Really, imagine this ball is your voice. If you're doing this, you're using your throat, you're yelling, and you're trying to go louder and louder, whereas you need to give your voice proper breath support. And imagine this ball coming from your stomach and being just, projected outwards. This goes back, if you see our other video, Iceberg Lungs, where we talk about proper breathing. If you incorporate proper breathing, that's when you really start to get a proper support and a proper grounding for your voice to be projected. If someone's breathing improperly, then they need to yell in order to get louder and louder. But if you're breathing properly, the proper breathing becomes the basis and the support for your voice to go farther and be directed farther. Here's something you can try. A lot of people when they're reciting, maybe you're sitting down and reciting with your mushaf in front of you, or even if you're reciting by memory, you're reciting to yourself. And that reciting to yourself doesn't normally lead to proper projection because you can hear yourself. So try this, take a friend, maybe a sibling or a parent or whatever, and have them stand across the room from you. And basically try to recite to them. And essentially what you want to do, again, go back to the breathing video, use proper breathing as a support, as a grounding, and then recite to them. Have them maybe close to you, they can hear you as they go farther. They should be able to hear you. You should be able to raise your volume by filling yourself with breath, casting your voice, but not yelling from your throat. Again, I can appreciate it's a little bit of an abstract concept. It's not something that I can really, write down step 1, step 2, step 3, and you'll instantly learn it. But it's something you need to develop through practice, keeping those abstract ideas in mind. Hope that helped. Take care. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.